Hi, folks. Welcome to the Economic Reality Channel. My name is Kurt. Today is Monday, November 17th. And there's a couple things I just wanted to update and go over. I'm in Northeast Georgia, heading back from Florida. Had a visit with some family and some friends and caught up and was able to um, do a couple business things that needed to be done. But I'm still out there looking for what I will just share as unrestricted land. And I'll give a little plug that there's a book that I've had for years, and I've always kind of paid attention to it as it relates to where you want to be in life physically. If you're thinking about moving or relocating to a new state or city, something to think about. But the book is Strategic Relocation by Joel Skousen. He's a former Marine fighter pilot, and he's put a lot of work into that. I won't go deep into it, but it's a great reference tool for agriculture, economies, politics, you name it. He kind of touches on everything: crime, so government, corruption, you name it. So still in that process, and I think that's going to probably be something that I'm focusing on in spring. Winter up here is not the time to be doing those outdoor type activities. So I'm going to buy a little time and keep looking for that opportunity. But in the meantime, just want to go over a couple things. So on the last couple videos, I touched on this fear and greed index, and I got this behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll get better at this video stuff, I promise. But for today, the fear and greed index is 15, which is extreme fear. And again, I highlight that even though the markets are down today, all three markets, and actually crypto too, Bitcoin I think hit about 92,000. So there is some concern, but I wouldn't call it extreme fear unless you're kind of leveraged heavily into these markets, and that's where I think the extreme fear indicator comes in. But gold and silver is holding steady. Still the safe haven, in my opinion. I was able to get a little more of my stack back when I went down to Florida, which is always good. So if you're not, investing in these things, I think you're missing the boat, because it's not that it's becoming so much more valued. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against, it's money insurance. How about that? It's money insurance. So when the dollar continues to go down, and you go in and you go to the grocery and you try to get as much food for your dollar, and it just doesn't seem to work out in your favor. Well, we have car insurance, we have home insurance, we have health insurance, we have auto insurance, yeah, whatever. To me, metals are money insurance. And so as the dollar continues to be debased with all the money printing, which is still going on, the precious metals are a way to maintain that value, and it's barterable. So, I think at some point there will be a time when you can actually trade some of those things for a piece of land. And who knows how far off that is, but it's probably actually happening today. So, something to think about. I would also like to just kind of point out that when I was in Florida, I met up with some family and some friends and was able to catch up on a couple things, like I said. But I was able to come across my mom and dad who had passed their mortgage from 1967. And I have that document here, and I don't want to give away any personal info, but they bought their home in 1967 for $13,601. And I was amazed, being that I am in the mortgage industry, or was, that if you can see this, they had a 30-year at 5.25, and their monthly payment was $72.17. Now, yes, this was 1967, but the same home today, I looked up, and the most recent Zillow value prior to this was when the home was it was near demo. I mean, I think they did everything but demo it, and it was in just bad condition, and it sold for $199 too. So, while we moved there in 1967, and it was a perfectly nice home, middle class home, nothing fancy, but seeing it today, someone put a lot of money into it, because I did go by it and look at it, and it's still the same shell, but the inside, per the pictures that I saw, had to be just gutted. And that's probably what happened. So that once $13,000 home is probably now $300,000, and it's not a $300,000 home. It's just amazing to me that something like that could cost so much, and it's really not that the home is improved. It hasn't. It's degraded severely from what we grew up in, what I grew up in. But it's a sign that the dollar its purchasing power has decreased so much since that time. And ever since we got on the Federal Reserve banking system in 1914, that dollar debasement has happened. And, the reports are today that, the dollar's worth 3 cents compared to 1914. So this was a huge example for me to see, the mortgage price and the payment, and it had nothing to do with rate. 5.25 was a good rate back then. It's still a good rate today, but the price of the home itself has skyrocketed, and so much of that has to do with inflation, money printing. And I'll keep this one short, but there's one chart that I wanted to highlight, because back in those days, we kind of considered ourselves upper low class, or lower middle class in my family. And I'm looking at this chart, and it's the net personal wealth in the US. And the top line, the purple line, is the top 1%. The middle line, the green line, is the top 10%. The red line and the blue line essentially are the same. The red line is 50 to 90th percentile, and the blue line is the bottom half. So it's really kind of turned into the top 10% has replaced the middle class in this country, and everyone else has become, the lower class financially. And it just kind of shows you over the course of the years, it goes from 1960 to current, that the top 1% and the top 10% have benefited significantly since somewhere around 1990, and the bottom 90% has struggled. So I think we're seeing that major separation in our economy between the haves and the have-nots. A lot of people make this a right versus left issue. I kind of look at it as a have and have not issue. And, as I travel around, I talk to a lot of people about, I guess, consumer sentiment, to try and see, what is important to them. Are they feeling the pain at the grocery store? Are they noticing that employment has become challenging? Most of these people are retired. I did see that Verizon announced a day or two ago that they're cutting 15,000 people. So the job cuts continue, and it's becoming harder and harder to find good employment. And the cost of stuff, it just continues to go up. And so I think that's going to be a big focal point. I see a lot more attention to these data centers and the energy and water usage. That's starting to make headlines, and I think it's going to escalate as we go through winter, especially as it relates to electricity costs. So, just something to think about. It's sad to see that our middle class has basically become the bottom 90%, and it's the top tier that's really kind of making all the profit. But it's just an observation that I wanted to point out. And so I'll leave it there. I'll keep it short. I just want to give a little update. Hope everybody's doing well. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll get better at this. Take care.